Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Now, before we dive into the real meat and potato news, I just want to make a quick observation. By now, most of you are probably aware about the murder of Senior Airman Roger Fortson by an as-yet unidentified sheriff deputy. I'm not trying to rehash the details of the shooting. We all know it was grossly unjustified. I just want to point out how nobody is flipping cars over and burning buildings down over it. Is that because he was a service member, or maybe was it because he was a gun owner? Why is it that all of these people are totally silent now? I also want to remind you that if police can just show up at our home and unalive us simply for having a gun, we don't have gun rights. But it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. So let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory. It is a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes are half as dangerous. It's math. It can't be wrong. We hope you'll never need to use your firearm for defense, but if you do, you can depend on Franklin Armory binary triggers. Click the link down there in the doobly-doo to find out more, and check out the brand new Strybog binary trigger. Want reduced split times and tighter groups? With a Franklin Armory binary firing system, you can improve these important shooting metrics and more. Visit franklinarmory.com and gain the selectable option to fire on both the pull and release trigger functions of your semi-automatic firearm today. And by TNVC.com. The new Mars LC 2000 meter laser rangefinder is in stock and ready to ship. It's compact and packed with features including a built-in ballistic computer, Bluetooth, and a red aiming laser, as well as an IR ranging laser which cannot be detected by most night vision devices. Check out TNVC.com for all the details. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, bolt, and magwell. Changing is quick and easy, and the combinations are practically limitless. With just one serialized lower, you can have any configuration you can imagine. Some people are losing their minds over a New York politician's private militia, but it's nowhere near as cool as they're making it sound. This guy with a painfully forced smile is Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. Seriously though, he looks like somebody explained to an android what smiling is supposed to look like, and then this was his first attempt to replicate the human expression. But it's not a fluke though. Apparently this is like just how this dude smiles. Blakeman wants to assemble what amounts to a sheriff reserve force for emergencies. They would be paid $150 a day when they're activated, and they would guard hospitals and power plants and places of worship and similar soft targets. They would not have any police powers outside of a declared state of emergency, and they would still be required to complete academy training and qualify on a weapon. They also need to already have a New York gun license, so it's not like it's just a way for the rich and connected to sidestep around New York's draconian permit process. What do you folks think? Is this some two-bit politician's personal Praetorian Guard, or is it a nothing burger? Apparently, the spirit of Aloha now includes balisong knives. So I guess that's a good thing, kind of. The legislature passed Act 21 and the governor signed it into law earlier this week. It ends the long-standing ban on having butterfly knives, switchblades, gravity knives, brass knuckles, swords, and spears, or manufacturing, transporting, blah, 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 blah. Why would the traditionally authoritarian political machine in Hawaii suddenly take such an enlightened course? Because they were backed into a corner. A court case challenging the ban, Teeter versus Lopez, was headed to an en banc panel of the Ninth Circuit, where a loss could be absolutely devastating for control freaks.
Would you like to go for double jeopardy where the scores can really change?
If the Ninth Circus were to see the light, the ruling could endanger bans on Salty Boys and standard capacity magazines, not just knives. So they rushed legislation through just in time to file a motion to moot the case. It remains illegal to carry one in your pocket, but when the law goes into effect, you'll be allowed to openly carry butterfly knives and spears. Still more or less impossible to get a permit to carry a gun though. The obvious solution is for everyone to start openly carrying insanely large swords until things change.
I cannot lift this. Grow stronger.
The Associated Press reports the rate of guns stolen from cars has tripled over the last decade, which is the sort of article they probably expect to drum up support for laws which would punish theft victims with a fine if their gun is stolen from a car. But I think it presents an even stronger argument to eliminate the defenseless victim zones which make people feel like they have to leave their gun behind in the first place. Oh, and maybe we could stop letting criminals out of jail with essentially no consequences when they harm other people. Why are guns being stolen at a higher rate, though? Like any social event, there are likely numerous and complex factors involved. But I think it's fairly obvious the biggest factor is the enormous influx of new gun owners. There were more than 3 times as many guns sold in 2023 as in 2013. Do you need another reason to hate the ATF? Of course not. But I know you want one. Imagine you're at work one day and ATF agents show up and handcuff you in front of your peers. They take you downtown and book you, and you're arraigned and bond is denied. You're indicted for selling guns and drugs to undercover cops. But you're a generally law-abiding person. You don't do meth, and you definitely didn't sell meth and guns to some shady dudes in a parking lot. So what gives?
No, it wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
But no matter how much you insist there's some sort of mistake, nobody wants to listen to you, and you keep getting pushed along through this process until finally your public defender starts asking some pretty uncomfortable questions for the ATF agents, and then suddenly you're just released with no explanation of how it happened. West Columbia police officers Calvin Brown and David Thompson participated in an ATF task force and claimed that Brian Wilson sold them crack, meth, and guns. They even listed Wilson's actual home address in their official reports. But because Wilson was arrested at work in front of all of his coworkers, they quickly spread rumors about him, including a rumor that he got released because he narked on a co-defendant, and another rumor that he had been arrested for murder and the big R word. Naturally, Wilson filed a lawsuit against officers Brown and Thompson. The complaint filed by the ATF was quickly hidden from the public, but the allegations listed in the lawsuit sound awfully similar to what the ATF accused Brian Malinowski of doing. Malinowski never got a chance to clear his name, and I assume the ATF is quite pleased about that point. And now, for your moment of zen.
Might as well do it for old time's sake.
Hey friends, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.